Hi everybody, it's Az here from HeelvsBabyface, and today we're going to discuss Blizzard's favourite waste of time, Azerite Armor. Of course, they're going to keep on talking about Azerite Armor and keep on, because hopefully it's going to distract players from the fact that BFA is a shallow husk of a game with a very limited progression system. And of course, that progression system is also tied up with Azerite Armor, that of course being Mythic Plus. Now, I had to make a decision about how I was actually going to approach this video. Do I go in a little bit more optimistic and say, well, this is a small step, a very small step, but a small step in the right direction, and this, for the first time, is Blizzard actually listening to the community, and approach it like that? But a simple fact of the matter is, people, I'm a cynical mofo these days, especially when it comes to this company, and I think this whole thing is quite cynical, and I think their true motives come a few paragraphs down, but we'll get to that. And I have to be honest to myself, and therefore that is the way that I will approach this video, with cynicism and sarcasm. So here we go, says some random NPC. Throughout the discussions regarding Azerite Armor, there's been a lot of talk about how you earn Azerite pieces from Mythic Plus dungeons. Players have told us, and we agree, that the process of earning Azerite Armor through Mythic Plus feels overly based on luck. No shit, Sherlock. And that there isn't enough control in the player's hands. Just going to stop you right there. There's actually no control in the player's hands. No control. Not enough. No control at all. It's all based on RNG and nonsense like that. Even with our bad luck protection systems in place, the sheer number of potential Azerite pieces you can get from the weekly chest means that trying to get a hold of a specific piece feels hopeless. A system which you designed and implemented in the game. Can we just stress that, because that does need to be stressed. Blizzard implemented a system which they are saying feels hopeless. Good to see at least there's some admission. That's a problem we want to solve. You put it in the first place, you solve it. And give you some control over the Azerite gear you earn through Mythic Plus. So here's what we're going to be working on for Tides of Vengeance. First, we're adding a new, as yet unnamed, currency which you'll earn from your weekly Mythic Plus chest, as well as from scrapping or disenchanting. Whoop-de-doo. Epic quality Azerite Armor. This currency is rewarded in addition to the item in the chest. Why, thank you, Blizz. And the amount you will earn will scale up based on the highest level keystone you've completed. For example, completing a level 10 keystone will reward you with about 3 times as much as clearing a level 7. Okay, that seems really off, but right. Similarly, scrapping higher item level Azerite pieces will give you significantly higher amounts of this currency than lower level pieces, says Common Sense. This seems really off. A level 10 keystone will give you 3 times as much as level 7, but, you know, okay, well, that's Blizzard. To spend that currency, we're bringing back an old friend, Thaumaturge Vashreen. Wait, who cares? He'll have 2 main types of items for sale. The first are caches that reward a random dungeon Azerite Armor piece for a given slot. So we've still got the RNG element in, but whatever. Helm, shoulders, or chest. They'll be separated out by item level as well, 345 through 7385, with higher item level caches requiring significantly more currency to purchase. Standard kind of fare. This is why I'm cynical, folks, because all this so far makes it sound like Blizzard are making these changes for you, the player, the community, community. That's what it's looking like. But then this paragraph comes in, and this is the one that was just like, this is the real reason I think they're doing this. But we recognise that with 6 or more options per slot, this may not be enough control for high-end players who want to be able to work towards a specific piece that perfectly complements their build. This is what I really think it's been implemented for. I think all the other stuff is a literal byproduct of it. And yet, this is cynical. Is it tin hat worthy? No, of course it's not. But it is very cynical, and I do admit that. But it's very difficult not to be cynical when you're dealing with Blizzard, a company which has purposely been avoiding all the tough questions. This expansion has been just really kind of off with the community as well, since they've had some blowback to BFA. And then suddenly it's all, hey, this is for you. Nah, it's for the higher end. It's for the esport posse. It's because there's only 3 things which are really succeeding in BFA. PvP, Mythic Plus, and raiding. And they just coincidentally happen to be the 3 things that Blizzard push as esports. And if they're pushing those as esports, then they need to keep their top-end players happy, because they're the people who are actually going to be competing in these things. Now, this is one specific thing. This isn't raiding and this isn't PvP. This is specific to Mythic Plus, but the Mythic Plus Invitational is something which is beginning to get some traction. So I think this is more the true way, the true meaning of why this has been brought in. Thus, Vashreen will also offer item level 385 versions of the specific dungeon Azerite Armor pieces for each class sold at a premium. Because obviously higher end players are going to be doing much more of this. They're going to be developing much more of the resource, and therefore they'll have a lot more to play with, allowing them to get their specific piece. We're still nailing down the exact numbers, but our goal for tuning this new currency is that you'll be able to purchase one of the Azerite caches that line up roughly with the item level of the gear you're getting from your Mythic Plus runs every 2 or 3 weeks. With the specific 385 pieces as a long-term goal for top players. Overall, we believe that this change will improve things in a lot of different ways. Mythic Plus players of all skill levels will now have a clear path to upgrading their Azerite slots. I want to talk about Azerite Armor in a second as a whole. High-end Mythic Plus players will have a way to target specific Azerite pieces to optimize their setups. Duplicate or unwanted Azerite pieces from the sources, such as raiding, now have some additional value. You can also take into consideration, I suppose, the emissaries from there as well. So the emissary is going to be added to that too. The piece of gear in your weekly chest will have a more reliable item level. You should see all of this hitting the Tides of Vengeance PTR soon. Why can't it just be put into, I don't know, sometime in the next week or so. We really do appreciate your feedback and believe that this, in addition to the new traits and other improvements coming to the Azerite system in Tides of Vengeance, will help ease a lot of the concerns about Azerite Armor in Mythic Plus and as a whole. So here's my problem with Azerite Armor in general. You've got these abilities, traits, whatever you want to call them, where you can't discern which one's better than another at the first glance. And so people who aren't in the know will just select the one that they think sounds the best. And then other people who are a bit more savvy will go off to places like Blood Mallet and find out which one's the strongest. Because ultimately, you don't want to have a weak ability when you can have a strong one. And then those people are seeing the imbalance between some of the abilities, then going to the forums and saying, Blizz, here are the metrics for this. This one's way better than that, etc., etc. Blizzard are then doing this, which is tweaking the abilities for the next patch, which I imagine is going to bring them in line with each other, and therefore A is going to be 50% and B is going to be 50%, and therefore it eliminates the whole purpose of choice. This whole Azerite Armor business is just dreadful. It's just nonsense. Now, scrap it. Get rid of Azerite Armor completely. Just make all gear have different sets. Just have all gear having different sets, and maybe they got different set pieces, and you might want to get the 4 set pieces and aim for 4 sets of gear in the same. Head, shoulders, back, waist. And then gloves and boots have a different set, and just marry up sets that way and give people control over the sets that they're aiming for. Kind of like exactly like ESO. But, you know, do it that way when people can physically see what they're getting. As opposed to this just random nonsense, which is like, ability A, the tides of Zoo wash over you, giving you haste. Whoop-de-fucking-do. People want to see, they want to be more in control of what abilities they have. Not this pie-in-the-sky stuff, which, again, even when Blizzard have tweaked it, people will still be going to Blood Mallet, still seeing which one does the most damage, and then just selecting that. So it defeats the whole purpose of it. Do you want to do something different with sets? If you want to do something different with tiers and abilities, then just allow different pieces to merge with each other to give set bonuses. Like you do with necklaces and rings, before you turn necklaces into cum dumpsters for artifact power. How you've done in the past before. Even trinkets, rings, trinkets, necklace. Stuff like that. And just allow people to customize their sets based off that. Or at least they would be in control over what they're getting and fully understand what they're getting. And that will work more to their play styles than some random piece of Azerite. Because, let's face it, people are only going for a specific set, a specific piece, because of that 1 or 2 abilities that are on there. The others can all just go to hell. So it's not really creating any choice for players on the Azerite Armor. They're just saying, right, I identified this piece of Azerite Armor because it has this ability on it. The whole thing is just a complete and utter mess with Azerite Armor as a whole. But yeah, I mean, I don't think we can give Blizzard the credit in this for listening to the fans, because I'm not actually convinced that they are. I think this tweak has been made much more for the higher end players than it has the knock-on effect that it'll have as a quality of life improvement for the rest of the players. I think that is just a byproduct, a fortuitous byproduct for the rest of the people. And ultimately, this isn't going to solve anything. This isn't going to make Battle for Azeroth any better. We've got an open world that's just hot garbage, and the progression system is identical. Mythic plus raiding PvP, esport crew in the house, represent. There's nothing to sink your time into. There's no long-form content for people who are lovers of RPGs, MMORPGs, to do. It's either Mythic plus raiding PvP or see ya. Nothing else for people to do. So again, these are placebo-esque things, and they're not actually addressing the major issues with BFA. But Blizzard be quite happy to keep on talking about this all day long, because it steers the conversation away from that. The simple fact of the matter is, BFA is shallow. Absolutely shallow. No long-form content. Nothing to put your time and effort into. It's a limited progression system. And that is that. If Blizzard are looking forward and looking to make any tweaks and changes for the future of the actual game, talk to us about that. Talk to us about that. But yeah, this I think ultimately is a cynical ploy to give higher end players a specific choice in where what Azerite pieces, what Azerite armor they would like to get themselves. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed the vid. If you did, do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to the channel. Follow me on social media and Twitch for live streaming. Links in the description box down below. And I'll be back with some more stuff very soon. You take care. Bye for now.